Good evening. Good evening. Maybe it's on. Good evening. I'll speak loud in case it's not picking up. Good evening, and thank you, everyone, for coming. We have some promotions in the fire department and a lot of new police officers, so it's an exciting time for the village board. We welcome everyone here. Thank you for joining us. Board, thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and department heads the same. We're here for our second Monday meeting of the month on obviously September 26th. The video of this meeting will be broadcast live on YouTube and will also be available on Facebook and posted to the village website. At this time, I'd call the meeting to order and ask Clerk Saladino to call the roll.
Trustee O'Brien?
Here.
Trustee McGee?
Here.
Trustee Gale?
Here.
Trustee Katinik?
Here.
Trustee Augustine?
Here. Trustee
Peterson?
Here.
President Kukler?
Here. One of the things we get to do tonight is recognize the promotion of Lieutenant Eric Yeager. And today, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, is his wife, Shelley, and Morgan and Keelan. So they're going to lead us with the pledge. If we could all rise.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before you sit down, though, you have to say what grade you're in and where you go to school. Shelley, you don't have to, though. Awesome. Terrific. Thank you. And your teachers did a great job teaching the pledge. You did fine. So we appreciate the effort. As I said, we have a couple of promotions in the fire department and 4 police officers that are being sworn in. So it's a great day for the village. We're real excited. We appreciate the hard work on our fire department. We appreciate the good work that our police department does, and so that we were able to recruit 4 officers. It's very difficult at this time, and we appreciate our chief and all the hard work and all the officers on making it a great place to work. So thank you on that. And I'd like to start with the oath of office for Fire Captain James Baum. We're going to have Jeff Beelan do the penning. And with the retirement of Captain Dave Rapp on May 9th, 2022, the fire department had an opening for a captain. At the September 21, 2022 Board of Fire and Police Commission meeting, they approved the promotion of the next person on the final promotion eligibility register. The first person on that eligibility register is Lieutenant James Baum. James began his fire service career in October 2010 as a fire paramedic. He had previously served in the United States Army, rising to rank of Staff Sergeant. James served in the Army in both Iraq and South Korea. Firefighter paramedic Baum had received great reviews from his supervisors and coworkers for his positive approach to the job. He's taken time to continue to improve his skills as a firefighter and is completing his training as a specialized rescue technician by taking courses necessary in several disciplines. James holds numerous certifications from the Office of the State Fire Marshal, Division of Personnel Standards and Education, including Fire Officer 1 and Instructor 2. Firefighter Baum has completed his Bachelor of Arts degree in Public Service Administration, is currently pursuing a master's degree in Public Service Administration at Lewis University. James Baum was promoted to the rank of Fire Lieutenant on October 14, 2019. Captain Baum will be assigned to the Red Shift and will be designated as our Fire Prevention Officer. So we will now have 3 captains and that is fully staffed in the captain rank. So we welcome Captain Baum, and I would ask for a motion to recognize his promotion to captain.
So moved.
A second.
And all we need for that is a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? I think I threw that part in on my own, but now we can have Clerk Saladino do the swearing in.
I, James Baum,
I, James Baum,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of Fire Captain
to the office of Fire Captain
in the village of Lagrange,
in the village of Lagrange,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Fire Captain
of Fire Captain
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Before we bring up Eric Yeager and his family, I do want to recognize Don Gay, our former fire chief, is here. Thanks, Don, for coming out. We appreciate all your efforts. If we can have the Yeager family come on up. Again, we have Shelley, Morgan, and Keelan joining their husband and father, Eric. With the promotion of James Baum from lieutenant to captain, the fire department had an opening for a lieutenant. On September 21, 2022, the Board of Fire and Police Commission meeting, the BOFPC, approved the promotion of the next person on the final promotion eligibility roster, fire lieutenant, dated March 30th, 2022. The first person on the eligibility register was firefighter paramedic Eric Yeager. Firefighter paramedic Yeager has been acting in this role since April. Eric Yeager began his fire service in August of 2009 as a firefighter paramedic at the Lagrange Fire Department. He had previously served in the United States Marine Corps, rising to the rank of sergeant. Eric served as part of the Iraqi Freedom. Firefighter paramedic Yeager has received great reviews from his supervisors and coworkers for his positive approach to the job. He's taken time to continue to improve his skills as a firefighter and has completed his training as a specialized rescue technician with the MABUS 10 Specialized Rescue Team. Eric holds numerous certifications from the Office of State Fire Marshal, Division of Personnel Standards, and Education. Firefighter paramedic and now Lieutenant Yeager is currently completing his basic company officer certification, and I would recommend that he be appointed. And I'll do it again. It would have a motion and a second on the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
And thank you. And then all in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? And fantastic. Now, if Clerk Saladino can swear in Lieutenant Eric Yeager.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eric Yeager,
I, Eric Yeager,
having been appointed to
to
the office of Fire Lieutenant
the office of Fire Lieutenant
in the village of Lagrange,
in the village of Lagrange,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Fire Lieutenant
of Fire Lieutenant
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Again, congratulations to James and Eric. But if everybody would stand and join me with a round of applause for our whole fire department. I'm not sure if Chief Wardlaw would agree, but some would say the fire department had 2 people getting promoted, so the police had to be even more competitive and get 4 new people to come on. So it is my absolute pleasure to ask for the next 4 people. We're going to start with Caitlin Huber, who's going to be joined by her mother, Robin, and father, Mike. On March 3rd, 2022, the Lagrange Board of Fire and Police Commissioners appointed Caitlin Huber to the position of probationary police officer to fill an open vacancy. Caitlin obtained a Bachelor's of Science degree in Law Enforcement and Justice Administration from Northern Illinois University in 2022, and she was most recently employed as Court Security Officer with the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Caitlin recently graduated from the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen. She graduated just on September 23rd, 2022, so it's pretty recent. The academy training is 14 weeks in duration. Caitlin is starting the first phase of her additional training in our village, which is 14 weeks of field training with a specially trained police officer within our department. And we appreciate the field training officers. They do a great job. We are pleased to present Caitlin Huber to the village board. So again, since I've now started this tradition tonight, we'll have a motion for Caitlin Huber's appointment.
So moved.
Thank you. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? With that, we can now have Paul Saladino, Clerk Saladino, swear you in.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Caitlin Huber,
I, Caitlin Huber,
having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the office of police officer
the office of police officer
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
I'm going to say this after each one of the officers gets sworn in because it's so true and really needs to be said. We know that Caitlin, mom and dad, are so proud of her today, and we join in that. But we also know that it's a sacrifice when your child becomes a police officer, policewoman, police officer, policeman. And that's because you're always concerned. You're always concerned that they're going to come home safely. We feel that. We share that. We truly believe we're a family in this village. So we thank you for your sacrifices that you make. Moving on, we have Hector Serna. And Hector's going to be joined by his dad, Guadalupe, mother, Maria, and girlfriend, Fernando. On May 25th, 2022, the Lagrange Board of Fire and Police Commissioners appointed Hector Serna to the position of probationary police officer to fill an open vacancy. Hector obtained an associate in arts degree from Morton College in 2021, and he was most recently employed as an installation helper with Four Seasons Heating and Cooling. Additionally, since 2019, Hector has worked part-time as an auxiliary police officer with the Rosemont Public Safety Department. Hector recently graduated from the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage. On September 23rd, 2022, again very recently, the academy training is 14 weeks in duration, and again, Hector is starting his first phase of the additional 14 weeks of field training under the supervision of our specially trained police officers. We're pleased to present Hector Serna to the village board, and at this time, I would entertain a motion and second on his employment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? And Clerk Saladino, please do the honors.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Hector Serna,
I, Hector Serna,
having been appointed to
and have been appointed to
the office of police officer
the office of police officer
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Mr. and Mrs. Serna and Fernanda, I know how proud you are of Hector and his accomplishments, his dedication to public service. We join in that pride, but I do know also what a sacrifice it is knowing that your son puts the community first, our visitors first, and it can be gut-wrenching at times. We recognize that. We appreciate your sacrifice, and we do truly feel he's part of our family. Thank you. Next up is Officer Brandon Camacho. Officer Camacho is going to be joined by his mother, Kim, and his girlfriend, Marisol. And it looks like Marisol may be a Chicago police officer. We do hire laterals. We'll have to talk to human resources on how that would work. I'm not sure, but we do hire laterals. On May 25th, 2022, the Lagrange Board of Fire and Police Commissioners appointed Brandon Camacho to the position of probationary police officer to fill an open vacancy. Brandon obtained an emergency medical technician basic certificate in 2011 from the College of Lake County. Brandon also attended the City Colleges of Chicago and Western Illinois with a major in physical education from K through 12. He was most recently employed as a special needs teacher assistant with McPherson Elementary School, part of the CPS. Brandon recently graduated from the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage, again on September 23rd. The academy training is 14 weeks, which Brandon completed, and he will now start our 14-week field training with our specially trained police officers as part of our department. We're pleased to present Brandon Camacho to the village board, and I would ask for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Terrific. And Clerk Saladino, please do the honors.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brandon Camacho,
I, Brandon Camacho,
having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the office of police officer
the office of police officer
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Sir. Kim, in Officer Marisol, I know how proud you are, and rightly so. It's great to have Brandon joining our police department. Again, we're so happy that he joins us. We know that it's an exciting day for you. We know, with Marisol being an active police officer with the Chicago Police Department, you know about the sacrifices. You know about the sacrifices for the loved ones. And so we appreciate that even though you know how hard the job is, you encouraged Brandon to go for it. We encourage his hard efforts, and thank you. You're all truly part of our family. Thank you. And last but definitely not least, we have Benjamin Reitz to come forward. And Benjamin's going to be joined by his father, Robert, and his grandmother, Mary. On May 25th, 2022, the Lagrange Board of Fire and Police Commissioners appointed Benjamin Reitz to the position of probationary police officer to fill an open vacancy. Benjamin obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice with a minor in business administration from Carthage College in 2021.
He was most recently employed as a park maintenance specialist with Naperville Park District. Benjamin recently graduated from the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage, again on September 23rd. We must have had most of the class there. The academy, again, is 14 weeks, and now Benjamin is going to be starting the first phase of an additional 14-week training with our great field training officers. We're pleased to present Benjamin Reitz to the village board, and I would ask that there be a motion and a second on his employment and appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? Hearing none, thanks. And Clerk Saladino will do the swearing in.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Benjamin Reitz,
I, Benjamin Reitz,
having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the office of police officer
the office of police officer
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Robert and Mary, I know how proud you are of Benjamin, his accomplishments, his hard work to get to where he is. We share in that pride. I also know that it's a sacrifice for your son to become a police officer, your grandson to be a police officer. There's worry, there's concern, and rightly so. It's a tough job, but we do appreciate it. The community supports our police officers. The residents, our businesses, and we all together know what a hard job they have. So thank you, and we do treat you all as our family. So at this time, I'd like us to stand and give a round of applause to the whole police department. And you don't get to swear in 4 police officers without recognizing one police officer that has retired. Jerry Monakevis joined the Lagrange Police Department as a police officer in 2001. Jerry was appointed to the rank of squad leader at various times throughout his career. Jerry served as a tow officer, a juvenile officer, a pepper spray training officer. Jerry also consistently demonstrated a commitment to service and respect for all members of the police department. Jerry has honored his profession by protecting the rights of all people while showing compassion and respect for all individuals. Jerry's professionalism, dedication, commitment to the excellence throughout his 21 years of service to the citizens of Lagrange is truly admirable. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the village president, the village clerk, the board of trustees of the village of Lagrange do hereby express their sincere gratitude and deepest appreciation to squad leader Jerry Mankiewicz for his many years of service, loyalty, and dedication to the village, and we convey our best wishes on his retirement. And I would ask for a motion and a second on this resolution of appreciation.
I move we accept the resolution of appreciation as presented.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And of course not. And Jerry, we do appreciate your hard work. Jerry's already began retirement and isn't able to join us today, but let's give him a round of applause. Moving right on, we do have a guest that's going to speak to the village tonight, and that's State Representative LaShawn Ford. State Representative Ford has been active leader down in Springfield, representing the interests of Lagrange and communities from Lagrange to Austin in the city of Chicago. He works hard for all of his residents. In the redistricting, he's taken much more of Lagrange. He last night joined us in our flooding roundtable, and he's here tonight to answer any questions that anybody has in the residents or the board. And he's focusing tonight on crime, but I think he's available for any other questions also. So Representative Ford, if you could come up, please.
Well, I guess I won't be able to congratulate the officers and their families, but I still will for the record.
Please.
I want to congratulate the officers and the family members, and also the fire captain and lieutenant. I was going to tell them, don't expect to be called captain at home, and don't be expected to be called lieutenant, because we all know, trustees, that we are just human, just like our family members, and we are not treated any special when we go home. So thank you very much for having me, and trustees, and I look forward to constantly working with you. It was great being with you all last night, learning more about the needs for the village and the flooding. We listen and we learn. I look forward to doing everything that I can to support the village in its efforts to protect the homes in village of Lagrange. Also, I would like to go on record to say tonight couldn't have been a more perfect night to come out to see men and women join the forces of Lagrange to protect and serve. And so it really makes me rethink of my efforts in Springfield and make sure that I do everything that I can to live up to my constitutional obligation to make sure that law enforcement and firefighters and the village has everything that they need to keep the village safe. And so today I want to reassure the village that I will do everything that I can to support your law enforcement community and the village, as well as the fire department. And finally, I would say if I didn't do that, my mother, who is 83, would remind me that I'm still her little boy, because she's a strong supporter of law enforcement, and we do everything in my family to do support good law enforcement. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, trustees and Chief. I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Representative. And I know our police chief, Rob Orlov, wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about our department. We're very proud of our department. And so, Chief, if you could do that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank you, House Representative LaShawn Ford, for engaging with members of the village as well as the community throughout Illinois. In Lagrange, we embrace our diversity and culture within the community. Law enforcement working collectively with the community must have a partnership of openness, understanding, and trust to solve issues and to meet the needs of society. The Lagrange Police Department continues to expand its efforts to educate our staff in areas of civil rights and human rights, as well as many other areas. Our personnel are committed to assimilating with our members of the community, no matter race, culture, religion, or sexual orientation. The Lagrange Police Department commitment to growing as a public service entity is demonstrated by some of the following. We have proudly displayed, as many of you know, the 10 shared principles posted in our police department lobby, which we have all members of the department sign. Officers this past year completed a 15-video series on cultural competency. Officers have also received training in areas of human rights, civil rights, use of force, procedural justice, and constitutional and proper use of law enforcement authority, as well as officer wellness. To date, over 63 new policies have been rewritten within the police department and uploaded into our new policy system. This is in pursuit of our department obtaining Tier 1 accreditation through a state program called Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. Today, which many don't know, we actually had our first mock assessment through ILEAP's partner, the Illinois Police Accreditation Coalition. It'll take several weeks before we actually find out how well we did, but it's the first step towards our actual accreditation process. The police department continues to strengthen our partnerships with the community partners, such as Community University Group of Lagrange, All Our Children's Advocacy Center, through local schools with our DARE program, as well as our school resource program. Additionally, we connect with the Aging Care Connections group, as well as the Lagrange Business Association and the Park District of Lagrange. The Lagrange Police Department is committed to providing the very best services to the village of Lagrange. As such, we continue to seek the best training available to enhance our skill set of our personnel. If and when federal, state, or county funding become available, we would be very appreciative recipients of any funding that may be available to us in order to help offset the costs of recruitment, staffing, training, and equipment. I thank you very much for this time to speak.
Yeah, no, I think it's recording and it's going on live too.
That's great. I want to be making a commitment that the Bail Reform and Safety Act is something that's still a work in progress. And I want you to know, Chief, and the mayor and the trustees and all the people listening, that we recognize that we have work to do before January 1, when the Safety Act and the Bail Reform takes effect. Your constituents and the people of the village should feel confident that the Safety Act is not in effect as of today, but it will go into effect as of January. The legislature will be back in session in November, and we will make fixes. And we welcome everyone to make recommendations for the Safety Act and the bail reform that was passed a few years ago. So I'm committed to a smart, on-crime approach, because we know that making the justice system smarter and fair will make all our communities safer. Here, the truth about the bail reform, judges will have more power to hold dangerous people in jail because they'll make a decision based on a public safety assessment, not simply off an ability to pay. And so we believe that if it's based off risk, we believe that that will keep violent people locked up in jail. As of today, there are more than 50 people accused of murder awaiting trial in Cook County out on bail. So those people have the ability to pay to walk during their pretrial detention. And so we believe that the judge could make a decision based on their knowledge and the risk assessment as to whether or not that person is at risk. But Chief, I want you to know that we are going to do everything that we can in November to make edits to amendments to the current statute. And that means when it talks about the trespassing, we understand that there are some issues that we need to address suggest to the president. We understand that we need to work on the issue of making sure that the home monitoring is tweaked, and we will be working on that in November before the law goes into effect. And my office is open for suggestions, and Chief, we will continue to dialogue with you before we file an amendment to the safety.
Thank you very much, Representative.
Thank you.
Representative Ford, if we could open it to anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question, as well as any of our board that may have a question. Trustee Kotinik.
Sure, I'll kick it. I don't think these are working, are they?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Representative Ford, first off, thank you for your service. I know it's a big ask to fill the shoes and the role that you do, so thank you in advance for that. Secondly, thank you for your support of infrastructure as it relates to funding, not only in Lagrange, but the municipalities in your district. To your point on cash bail, I guess I'm a little confused by this topic, and to be honest with you, if I talk to my constituents in the neighborhood, that's a big concern what's going to happen January 1st. We've seen the city of Chicago go to this, and I think it's safe to say that the crime numbers are at historic highs. And when you read the newspapers and you see convicted felons out on the street committing second, third, fourth crimes, to me that's not acceptable, and to our community that's not acceptable. So on January 1st, I think there's a lot of concern of this program expanding outside of Chicago and going to the entire state of Illinois. You say 50 people are out on bail on murder charges in Chicago. I think what hasn't been mentioned is the numerous people that are not locked up, that have committed crimes, that are out on the streets doing carjacking, doing robberies, making the city of Chicago, in my opinion, unsafe. So what I would suggest, or interested in your opinion, is how can we make the streets safer? How can we have judges hand down penalties that are reflective of crimes? How can we give our police department more teeth to enforce, to do their jobs? And it's really important and critical that we start making our streets safe again. And I'd love to get your reaction on that.
Concern widespread from everyone, regardless of what walk of life you are in. You're concerned about the future. And this Safety Act is something new. But let me tell you, you named it. You said Chicago has a lot of violent people out right now. And they're not being detained. That's because the current system that we have allows for that. In January, what we know is that the judge will have two decisions. You have a decision to make with two choices. You detain the person in jail, or you let them go by signing your name to the release. Judges will not let carjackers out. Judges will not let murderers out of jail with a risk to our communities. That's what we believe, that's what's happening right now. And we know that if judges are given the power, they will make the right decision. We know that if we support law enforcement and give law enforcement the tools that they need to patrol the streets and capture the criminals, we believe that they will pass on very good cases to our prosecutors, so that the prosecutors could then pass those on to the judges, so that the judges see that they have the right person to keep detained. Remember, the bail bond system has never been and never was established to detain people because of their risk. The bail bond system was established to make sure that people return to court for their next hearing. It has become something different. And right now, we know that the best approach, we know because we've done studies, the best approach to making sure that people that are dangerous to our communities are locked up is by making Right now, drug dealers have lots of money, and they could buy their way out of jail with a bail bond. And that's happening right now. It won't happen in January. There's going to be a risk assessment, and the judge will now look at the ability to pay. Criminals that are dangerous to our communities will be detained.
Great, thank you, Representative, for that perspective. I strongly encourage you to continue that track. And as a broader opinion, mine only, I think we need to look at the judges that we elect and start being a little more tougher on who we put in office, who gives these passes or doesn't. So thank you for that, sharing your opinion.
And I've talked to many police chiefs and people in the community, and they believe exactly what you said, that we have to make sure that we work together with the legislature, working with the judges and the law enforcement to make sure that we capture the criminals and the dangerous people. Right.
Thank you.
Trustee Gale.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Representative Ford, for coming out. Appreciate you taking the time. And I appreciate the time you've taken over the last year or so. I've had the chance to get to know Representative Ford a little better. Well, you're welcome. And I'm glad you've taken the time to try to get to know Lagrange a little better, because you're now going to pick up a bigger piece of it. So I really do appreciate all your efforts, and for coming out and excuse me, speaking about the Safety Act as well today. I do think that the reforms to the cash bond system, I think you've identified them correctly. That it's a system that can allow folks to buy their way out of jail, where somebody who doesn't have the economic means ends up sitting in jail, even though their offense is not a threat to the community at large. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you're going to continue to work on it over the veto session to address some of the other concerns and to work with our chief. So no question, just really a comment. So thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Trustee. Oh, I do see some hands down there.
Thank you again for coming, Representative. Lagrange has some unique issues, and you learned about those last night at the flooding roundtable. No, I was on the edge, like if I was on your side of the table, but kind of towards the back, against the windows. But we have some very unique circumstances, and really our biggest problem is flooding. So I have regional leaders, statewide leaders, and at the federal level, looking out for us, getting to know us, and truly understand it. Very important for us, especially with the redistricting and all of the change. So we appreciate you plugging in, earnestly coming forward, bringing up topics, offering to help, and really listening. And you'll be hearing more from us and us from you. So thanks again. And your emails are great. We get them once every other day at least, and they're very informative. So your team's doing great.
Anything that you would like to share with the community, as long as it doesn't have a fee to it, we're happy to share.
That's great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Peterson.
Thank you. I do want to return to the Safety Act. I do have a question, and you may have mentioned it, but I just didn't hear it. And that is, so any crime that's committed with a weapon, so the decision is up to the judge. So the possibility of cash bail does exist when there is a weapon involved. It would be the judge who made the determination to either release or retain. Is that correct?
There will be no cash bail as an option. It would only be detained or release. The judge said, I don't believe you are at risk to the community. You get to go home. But you have to return to court. Or they say, we believe because of this risk assessment that will be used, and it's a computer-generated risk assessment that will be used, that the judges will have to, put in the risk factors of the individual. And it makes a recommendation. That's not the only decision, that's not the only way that the judge comes to their decision. By that, they have to sign off and make sure that they agree with the risk assessment. So zero bail or stay in jail. Is that right? 0 bail, go home, or 0 bail, stay in jail. It's working in the federal government, so the feds right now, they use no money bail, you know, and parts of Texas, it's the same thing, and it's working in a red state like Texas, and it hasn't been repealed. It will work if all of us work together with law enforcement to make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to help stop crime in our communities and write good police reports. Then we have to make sure that the prosecutors receive and use the evidence that they're given by the law enforcement to present to the judge and get those indictments. I mean, we have to have some solid indictments and lock up the criminals. Otherwise, what do we have? We lock up the wrong person and the criminal's still out there. So I'm committed, as I said, Chief, to make sure that I'm 100% in support of supporting law enforcement so that we can all be safe.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Trustee Gale.
Sorry to ping pong back to
No,
flooding.
please.
Trustee Augustine's comment reminded me, because Trustee Augustine last night at that meeting spoke about our friends, the quarry. And it's something I've been meaning to reach out, and I think with you here, it kind of reminded me of it. If there's legislative pressure that can be brought to bear on essentially a bad neighbor to the village, and that's putting it kindly. They, broadly speaking, they're a quarry. They provide aggregate for road projects. Pretty sure they probably get indirectly some state funding through that. At the same time, we're spending our revenue in a lawsuit against them. If there are any ways to bring legislative pressure or even, executive pressure against them to, be better neighbors to the village of Lagrange, instead of suing their neighbors. Happy to try to talk about it and brainstorm with you, but wanted to just bring that up.
Grange, and I will tell you that if that's something that you would like a legislative conversation and you want something filed and bring them to the table, I'm happy to be your key sponsor.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's a great way to end our conversation. We do look forward to working with you on legislation that can make our communities safer, both from crime and from pollution that is caused by the quarry. So we'll be definitely working with you. We appreciate you coming out tonight. We again appreciate that you came out last night also. So we're thrilled that you're going to be taking over more of Lagrange. Representative, I think we all want to shake your hand, so.
Thank you.
All right, it is the fourth Monday of the month, which means another stormwater management update. The village fully expected to go to trial tomorrow against the quarry. Unfortunately, the judge had a family emergency and needed to continue the trial. He's tentatively scheduled it for October 24th, but he gave both sides time to make sure that their witnesses would be available. Preliminarily, we know that the village's witnesses are. We expect that the quarry's witnesses are, and that they will be reporting towards the end of the month that, or
in the next week or so that October 24th does work as a trial date. Obviously, it's been continued. It's frustrating. We understand that. We can only continue to focus on what we can control. And what we can control, and I really lump in our lawyers on this, is being prepared to go to trial. And we can control that. We are ready to go to trial. We will be ready to go to trial. And hopefully that will be on October 24th. Last night, Lagrange and Congressman Caston organized a roundtable that was well attended by members of the community, by members of our village board. They also had a lot of elected leaders and soon to be formally elected leaders attend. Congressman Chuy Garcia sent 2 staffers because he was unable to attend. 2 candidates that expect to be on the MWRD board come January 1, Teresa Flynn and Dan Bago-Shalinsky, both attended, both expressed willingness to work with us. Of course, Commissioner Frank Aguilar, who's always been championing for us, was there. We also had from Hinsdale, President Tom Hinshaw and members of their board were in attendance. Abdel Nasser Rashid, who is running for state representative and has a small section in Lagrange, he expressed definite willingness to work with Representative Ford down in Springfield to work to get funding. There is state money that's available. We want to make sure that we get some of that for our projects. And then Dan Caladino, who's running for Cook County Commissioner, he was there. Again, he expressed willingness to work with us on the county level. We do believe that if Congresswoman Newman's money comes into Lagrange, it will first go through the county. We will need help to make sure that it goes out to Lagrange as directed. So again, we're thankful that Dan Caladino was able to attend. And obviously up here we do not endorse any candidates, but I will say he's a Marquette grad, so that should be reason enough. But in all seriousness, I appreciate everybody who came out and heard from our residents the devastating effect that the flooding has had. We'll continue to push the litigation. We'll continue to push our elected leaders to work to solve these issues and continue to do our best. And again, we do have, Director Colby and I do have monthly calls with the MWRD, and we know that we'll be able to express to the staff that the new leaders on their board are interested in this issue, and so that's helpful. Moving on, it's Fire Prevention Week and an open house coming up. The fire department is happy to announce the return of its annual fire prevention open house on Tuesday, October 11th from 6 to 9 at night. The family-oriented event will include various fire safety demonstrations, crafts, giveaways, and refreshments. You'll also be able to check out the firehouse, and obviously everybody is invited. I know we have Nancy Cummings here. It's the fall, so we have Skeltober in Lagrange. It's a friendly but a bit scary life-size skeletons will be displayed around Lagrange in October, dressed in theme to showcase participating businesses. We encourage everyone to visit Lagrange businesses and celebrate the fall season. Terrific. Then we'll move it on to the village manager report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The fall leaf pickup program will begin on Monday, October 4th and continue through November 24th. Leaves will generally be collected every other week by the Public Works Department from each village street. Leaves should be raked to the curb. No bags or yard waste stickers are required for this service. For more information, please visit the village websites or contact the Public Works Department at 708-579-2328.
Ms. Jones, if I can cut in there. We did hear last night from some of the residents. They are concerned about the neighbors raking leaves into the street. It can cause problems during storms. So, as I said last night, it's a very, very popular program with our residents. It's much more convenient than bagging them and hoping that the garbage and disposal companies properly dispose and reuse the leaves. Our program is designed where our public works efficiently picks them up. We then contract with a trucking company that delivers them to a farm that turns those leaves into mulch and fertilizer. But again, to the residents that are watching, if a storm's coming, please get the leaves out so that the water can make it into the sewers and catch basins and hopefully out of flooding the intersections and causing damage to people's homes. So, sorry for the interruption.
No, just fine. We have some upcoming railroad closures that I want to make sure to notify everyone about. The Burlington Northern and Santa Fe Railway has announced plans to replace the railroad crossings at Brainerd Avenue next month, which will result in an extended closure of the Brainerd Avenue crossing. The BNSF advises that a complete closure of both lanes is scheduled from 8 a.m. Thursday, October 6th through 5 p.m. Sunday, October 16th. The BNSF will post advanced signage this Thursday. The village continues to request that the BNSF employ any and all options to minimize disruptions to pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Additionally, the Indiana Harbor Belt Railway plans to repair their deteriorated railroad crossing at Shaman Avenue. The Shaman Avenue crossing is planned to be closed from Monday, October 13th to Sunday, October 30th, 2022. For more information, including detour maps, please visit the village's website at lagrangeil.gov.
And if I can just jump in there, Manager Jones, again, I just want to make sure I know some of the people that are watching are hearing this for the first time. So BNSF believes, and the village strongly disagrees, that Brainerd Avenue needs to be completely shut down for all vehicle and pedestrian traffic from October 6th to October 16th. That we believe as a board creates a safety issues. Obviously, LT North Campus is right there. Students generally cross over Brainerd to get to LT school. In addition, students cross going the other way to get to Park, some to get to Ogden, and many to get to St. Francis. This is a problem with closing the tracks and not allowing any pedestrians to move. I myself am a commuter that gets on at Stone Avenue, and it requires me, and perhaps it's not bad for me to get some exercise, but it does require me to walk down to Lagrange train station. But coming home, you would think that I'd be able to exit Stone Avenue, except if if are being constructed, they're going to have sometimes on the other side of the tracks. So it'll be difficult to know if I'm going to be on the wrong side or the right side of the tracks. There's no way, I believe, that Metro or Burlington Northern will communicate that well. I don't expect it to run smoothly. I find it outrageous that BNSF will not work with us to figure out a solution that our pedestrians at least could cross. And so we're continuing to work. I know that our resident started a campaign with the ICC today that was joined by many residents to complain. I followed up with that, included CCs to Congressman Newman's personal email address and Congressman Chuy Garcia's personal email address. Both gave me that for the purpose of including them with my letter, and both have indicated a willingness to sit down and have a meeting to see if, obviously everybody's concerned about safety. Let's figure out the best way to do this project. We're obviously not anti-transportation here. We are, though, anti-railroad coming in and dictating all the things that need to be happening on their schedule when they want. And so we'll continue to advocate for a better solution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving on, September is National Preparedness Month. For more information regarding what to do before, during, and after a disaster, Visit the Ready Illinois website at ready.illinois.gov or the Village website. Residents are also encouraged to go to the Village website to sign up for our emergency notification system. And then finally, I have a brief update for item A on tonight's consent agenda. This agenda item approves a contract with Performance Construction Engineering for emergency sewer repair. As noted in the agenda materials, this repair is needed due to damage caused by a private contractor. Since the publication of the agenda, staff has received a response from the responsible parties, and we are optimistic that they will complete the necessary repair. However, staff and the village attorney recommend that the board approve the contract before you this evening so that the village can ensure the completion of the repair if the responsible parties do not take timely action. Thank you.
Thank you. Village Manager Jones. At this time, I would ask Clerk Saladino to read the items on both the consent and current agenda.
Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they already have been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, Contract 2022 Emergency Sewer Repair. Item B, Agreement 2022 Sewer Cleaning and Televising Program Task Order. Item C, Contract 2022 Holiday Season Public Relations and Marketing Services. Item D, Contract 2022 Seasonal Decor Rental Services. Item E, Minutes of the Village of Lagrange Board of Trustee Regular Meeting Monday, September 12, 2022. And item F, Consolidated Voucher 220926. And current business agenda items include consideration for matters being presented to the Board of Trustees for action. And I see no items listed for tonight.
Terrific. At this time, I would ask if there's anyone that has any comments on matters that are on tonight's agenda. And I see one.
Good evening, Village Board. Glenn Thompson, driver for Grange, now the railroad guy in 448 South Spring. Again, appreciate your coming out last night, President Kugler, Village Clerk Salatino, Beth Augustine, Peg Peterson. Really appreciate you guys coming out last night. Great attendance. Appreciate all the politicians, especially LaShawn Ford coming and Sean Cassidy together. I thought it was a great opportunity for the village residents to voice their opinions and concerns about the flooding and to draw interest to try to get a regional resolution to the problem. As you mentioned, with the railroad issue, we posted it to as many places as we can in the village to get parents to complain, to file a complaint with the Illinois Commerce Commission. I have responded to the email I found in my junk file. I responded during this meeting, but we need every parent and every person in this village to file a complaint with the Illinois Commerce Commission. They did respond to me immediately. There was a lot of stuff in there that's very incorrect. Having formally run the traffic control for that railroad across those crossings, the traffic control company's not responding properly. It should have been done before this started. 14 days is required. So they need to do a better job. They haven't communicated correctly, so we need to get them to stop that and let our children cross. As I pointed out in my response, the death of a child will now be in the Illinois Commerce Commission, and there's no way they can ever overcome that. So appreciate your support in helping us get that done. And just thank you for last night and everything you're doing.
Thank you, Glenn Thompson, for your words. I would just echo to please go on the Congressman's web pages. They have a place for you to make your concerns. We can make sure that that's a priority, and any of the leaders, both county, state, federal. You know, we only have a couple of weeks, but it's I think going to be a big safety issue if nothing's done. Thank you. Any other comments on matters on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a vote on, or a motion, so that we can vote on the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. I'd open it up for any comments, starting with Trustee Augustine.
Yes, thank you, President Kugler. As I've previously stated, I recused myself from voting on agenda items related to the village prosecutor. And then I did have 2 comments on agenda items. One was to some degree addressed by Acting Village Manager Charity Jones. I was wondering how likely we were to see repayment for this emergency expense. The pictures of them just jamming that pipe through our sewer is disgusting. And I hope that's something they realize it's not going to look good for them. So I'm really glad to hear that they've reached out. I feel like we'll see something there. Could have been worse, I guess. And then secondly, the award of the contract for public relations and marketing services. And I know we have Nancy from the LGBA here. We've used Ripson Group for many years in different areas. They've been good to this village. They understand what we do. And just looking at what they get us, what they promised to get us, and how they've exceeded in past years is really impressive. Helps keep Lagrange in the spotlight. Things that we do for these special events make us look very good. I know how expensive media is and attention is to get on the town, and you have to do it right to even get there in the first place. So I'm just happy to approve this amount and look forward to our holiday season to come. And thanks for your hard work and making sure that we look good.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Trustee Gale.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is more a question or it's more of a statement for Charity, and I guess a question too for the sewer repair work. I noted in the agreement, I'm glad to see, is that there's a provision that basically says we can terminate this at any time. Is that the custom and practice for contractors we hire? Because I know I represent design professionals in my professional practice as an attorney, and there's all kinds of termination for convenience clauses. I just didn't know if in the public sphere with contractors who are doing actual physical work, if that's similar.
Well, and Director Colby might be able to chime in a little bit more about what's typical in our public works contracts. This one is a little bit different because of the nature of the work, but maybe Rick, could you speak a little bit to what's typical in our contracts?
So that we had the full right to terminate the contract at our convenience.
I noted the full.
Exactly. So, but yeah, normally there's provisions. It's a typical termination for multiple. Yeah, normally standard practice, just one we modify.
All right, just curious.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. I would just add to thanks our attorneys, Benjamin Schuster, for his work again on item A with getting the at-fault party to be moving towards payment. It's Rosh Hashanah. We want to wish a happy Rosh Hashanah to all Jewish people that are celebrating today. That's where Attorney Schuster isn't here, but we're joined with Caitlin Culbertson. So we appreciate you, Caitlin, coming and making sure we're on the straight and narrow. So thank you for joining us tonight. With that, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Augustine? Trustee McGee? Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
Trustee Kotinik?
Aye.
And the consent agenda passes unanimously. There being no items under current business, I would ask if anybody in the audience has any public comments regarding matters not on tonight's agenda. Good evening.
Good evening.
We assume it's on for the live stream, but it may not sound like it's on.
And I live at 140 Sunset Avenue, Lagrange. Thank you for having me tonight, and thank you to the trustees and president for coming out to the drive-thru for Lagrange event last night. I am here tonight once again to implore the village to undertake sewer infrastructure improvements. We've had flooding, we'll have more flooding, It's a matter of time before we have another major flooding event, like in 2001, 2021, 2020, and so on. We need relief. As a property owner, I can only do so much. I can protect my foundation, put in overhead sewers, drive my cars away from floodwaters, have a backup generator, and so on, but I can't keep the water from coming up to my doorstep, up to my basement windows. That's where I need Lagrange. That's where we need your help. And I know it's not easy, and I know it's going to cost money. I understand that. But what is the alternative? There is none. There can't be. And to be clear, I'm talking about structural improvements. The repair and maintenance in the village is great, and it's done with capable people, and our sewers, I know, are taken care of. I'm talking about structural improvements to the small straw system that we have, the antiquated system, so that the relief sewer in front of my house, when it reaches capacity, doesn't start emptying water into my yard. Here's what I suggest the village do and consider doing. With our engineers identify on a comprehensive village-wide basis critical flood issues and problematic areas. Identify possible solutions, estimate costs, and set up critical timelines to address those problems. For example, the village has stated that an extension of the Mars from Lagrange to Peck would be a viable solution to provide flood relief in my area. Put Mars on the plan. If there are obstacles, I'm confident you trustees can overcome them. Compile and publish for our residents a comprehensive plan with short-term and long-term goals for the sewer improvements. Until we see improvements on the docket, we will continue to push for action. And if we don't, we'll look up and it'll be another decade that will have passed without change. It's been 3 years since the former director of Public Works stood in the water of my front lawn, watching the water be pumped out of our basement, promising that something will be done soon. And I'm frustrated. Please do not let all sewer relief efforts be held captive to the quarry litigation. There is so much else to do, and let's do what we can, and let's do it now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. West. And I know Clerk Saladino has a question or comment.
Yeah, this is for Director Colby. We were talking earlier about the LEAF program and putting it in the streets, and President Kukler talked about, trying to keep things clear before the storms, and since flooding obviously is a big issue with Mike and Glenn standing up and speaking. I believe it was said that it's about every week and a half or so that they come by and remove the leaves. Is there anything that we can do to narrow that down? Like, these streets will be today or tomorrow or something like that? Because I know sometimes haven't gotten them out and I need to do it, and the truck goes by. And then I end up doing it that day, and it sits for a week and a half, and if a storm comes over a week and a half, and if I knew within a day or two of when the truck was going to come by in my area, I wouldn't be putting leaves on the street until then, which would be diminishing the chance that they're going to get caught. And I assume that most residents probably feel the same way I do, and it may help some of that. I do realize you send out crews to clear the sewers, but I'm just thinking proactively, would that be difficult to do? And you don't have to answer it right now, but just something I wanted to ask.
No, thank you for that comment and feedback. It's definitely something we can look at from an operational perspective. There are times, depending on the amount of fall, like leaf fall, we see it picks up significantly in the later parts. So then our throughput time is a lot slower in that second round, and we're adjusting. So it's how do you manage that communication piece?
Post it on the website or something like that. We're hoping tomorrow to get these streets, and at the end of the day, if it didn't get done, each day, somebody could post it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Colby and Clerk Saladino. Okay, so we're done on the public comments, and now we are moving on to trustee comments. Trustee Kutinek.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick update on the village manager search. Trustee Gale and I are currently working with a outsourcing firm, GovHR. As you can tell by the name, they specialize in recruitment of positions within municipalities. We're currently within the about 25-day posting period, which will coincidentally end tonight. So if there's any interest in the position within Lagrange as village manager, I would encourage anyone to visit our website and search for the position. That will get you in touch with the representative at GovHR. And I will gladly say there's been a healthy interest in the position with what appears to be a good number of qualified candidates applying so far. So in terms of timeline, we will evaluate all the candidates over the next couple weeks, narrow down the process, and then begin the interview process with the appropriate individuals.
Thank you, Trustee Kotinik, for that update. Thank you, Trustee Gale and Kotinik, for your hard work on that. And I know I speak for the board when I say we're excited that there's healthy interest in the position. Although Acting Manager Jones is doing a great job, her daughters probably miss her at night. So we understand that all good things have to come to an end, too. But that's great news. Any other trustee comments? Trustee Augustine.
Yes, thank you, President Kukler. Follow up on from our last board meeting when Mr. West's wife was here and several other neighbors spoke about flooding in their area. It began a discussion that had been kind of percolating, but it furthered the discussion about organizing around some of these initiatives that have been put on hold because of outside entities, like the Mars project was put on hold for a number of reasons, but largely due to the fact that MWRD said we cannot put more water through into the deep tunnel until 2029. Other issues came up in other parts of town that we started to work on, like the 50th Street, and then the quarry, right when we were beginning, got in the way of that. So two huge projects that would have addressed the vast majority of our town are on hold and they're out of our control. And that's an unfortunate fact, but you're well aware of that. But if the MWRD plan, which should be done in 2029, is ready, then we should be able to lift that restrictor and flow everything out with a finished Mars project. And we will be, as a village, working on our upcoming budgets and workshops starting in October, workshops in January, and these measures will be raised again, discussed, and hopefully plans put in place. But they're expensive, difficult projects, so you don't want to have all of these things happening at the same time. You have to figure out the funding. There may need to be referendums and bonds and things like that, so we'll keep you in the loop. And alternative measures, other things that can be done for your part of town and others will also be discussed there, and we're all thinking about anything that we can do inside the box, outside the box, to try to put pressure on the other entities that can make these things happen for us sooner, including, as Trustee Gale referred to, our friends at the quarry. He was joking, obviously. I didn't say our friends at the quarry, because they're not. And you know, if there's a way that some of the regional leaders who were there last night and others can help us in some way, then maybe there's a miracle that we don't have to take this all the way to trial. Maybe there's some other discussions that can happen and we can get the 50th Street project going faster. It's hard to say, but they have been, you know, one of the many big problems that we have, because we don't have a river, we don't have a lake, we don't have a quarry inside our limits. We have nowhere for this water to go but out these pipes controlled by others. And you know the story. So, but I wanted to let you know that a lot of discussions with staff and fellow board members have occurred, and I think we're all looking forward to a heavy discussion about what to do next and to make sure that those projects can be completed in time for them to be 100% used at the very least by 2029. So more on that as that news comes out, or as we learn more.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. This matter will go to trial. It will hopefully go to trial on October 24th. Any other comments? Mr. Gale.
Just to be clear, yes, the quarry is not our friend. That was friend in quotes. Thanks. For the record.
If anybody's listening on the radio and couldn't see the sarcasm. Any other trustee comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. The meeting is adjourned at 9 o'clock. Thank you for your efforts, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.